straight away here. There's no allotment holders here for questions, so I'm going to hand it straight over to Joe to let you know what's happening there.
Yeah, Chair, it's just to let you know that we had a meeting with a couple of allotment holders from representing 10th Avenue in the last week, and there's some points that were raised. The officers are looking at these points, and what we're aiming to do is produce a report for the next committee in February next year. So
Okay.
that's that, Chair. Back to the agenda now.
Apologies for absence.
Councillor Jones.
Councillor Jones. Anybody else? There's a lateness for Councillor Worsford, isn't there?
Yes, he did mention that on the telephone.
Okay, remind members of the disclosures of interest and grants of any dispensations.
Non-reported.
No report, okay. We've got the minutes of the previous Environmental Committee to note, this is to note the minutes.
So just as a point on that though, it's a small point, on item 6 on the allotments, there was a proposal by Councillor Reid and Stanger, which didn't say actually what happened to the proposal. You really say in the minutes that it was agreed.
Yeah,
If any member of the public reading that wouldn't know what happened to it. You can see it was agreed by a majority.
Yeah, my only problem with that, Madam Chair, is that councillors even agreed in the same sentence. I don't usually have.
aye, aye, it should have come back for, the agreement. Okey doke, can we have that amended, please? Thank you. Actions arising from the previous minutes, we're talking about Ogle Drive, the skate park, and the Isabella skate park. So it's open for comments or questions. Anybody?
But just a comment, Chair, that we thought we might be able to use that for a football field there. We're going to leave the concrete there. It becomes unusable really.
Well, have you read the letter from, has everybody read it?
Yeah.
The old skate park just needs the equipment removing and the hard standing concrete base left clear. There is really enough space to convert to football usage. And we would just have to we've just had new drainage installed all around this whole feature. And I wouldn't like to see that damaged by heavy machinery travelling over the top of the grass. So if you've got any comments or any questions on that, or we're happy with what's been said.
Yeah, it makes sense, Chair, but it's like even as we don't own, do we own the concrete plinth? Do we own the field?
No.
So it doesn't really matter whether what we're saying, because they're not split to it.
No.
So we could say we really would like to see the concrete gone and make another football pitch, but you're not going to do it. Well, then, there's only anything we can, well, there isn't anything we can do about it, is it?
Right, I've got Martin then Anna. Martin then Anna.
Yeah, I was just wondering, as it says, it needs the equipment removing, the hard standing funky base left clear. So it's just going to be a big square of concrete from now on. Yeah, forever. Is it going to be? That's it.
Yeah. Anna?
There are some people who use that bit of the skate park for exercise, so I think it's something for me to take up with as a county councillor, what we can actually do if it's going to be left as concrete, whether or not there's anything we can put on it. I don't know. I kind of disagree with what's being said, but I guess as a town council, we probably can't do much about it if that's the officer's recommendation. I might challenge it as a county councillor.
Yeah. Warren?
I was going to say it might be an idea to think of alternative uses if it's going to stay in there. And I know you'll know in Ridley Park, we have a small area of concrete, which we managed to put a basketball hole with just the water in, and kids quite often use that just for practicing basketball.
Yeah.
It might be an option.
So,
Perhaps we could do the skate park.
so do we want to send in the hands of the county councillor to see what challenges we can give?
Chair, in all seriousness, I think Ron's got a brilliant idea. I've asked him to put a hook up there. I've got money in there, I've got some of my money from here, I would put towards that. Because no point in just leaving it like that, and I think having a thing there would be brilliant for you.
Good idea, Anna.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that there's stuff that could be done with it, I mean, you could even paint stuff on, but there is, the like I say, that group that use it, use it as an outdoor gym type, yoga type area and do exercise there, so.
Aileen?
I've read the books there every day. It's like a book camp. Right, so that, and we use that area for exercise, especially when the weather's like this.
Right. So, Sandra?
I was just thinking they could put like old fashioned games like hopscotch.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, you know.
So what you're saying is we're quite happy to leave that stand there and look at other uses on it. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, right, we'll leave it at that, and thank you very much for that. The environment budget monitoring report, say attached, are you all quite happy?
Yeah.
I'm looking at John.
We're all looking at John.
Seems all right.
Right, the memorial bench, this is from old councillor Robert Parker, who wants to purchase a recycled plastic bench with plaque. And he's going to cover all the costs for a commemorative bench to be installed by his late wife, Margaret Parker, who was also a former councillor and past mayor of Blytown Council. So is that in agreement, or has anybody got any comments or questions? Sorry? It's at the Isabella. It's the installation of the bench will be met by, all right.
Specifically, the one, it's.
The seat would replace one of the St. Issies metal benches that is currently located to the north of the last shift. The last shift sculpture opposite the Isabella Community Centre. The metal bench will be placed back into stock and relocated somewhere else. So it's, you know, that where the sculpture is, just beside that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes,
I think that seat there is absolutely well used by all age groups.
right.
So maybe putting another one there would be more beneficial than taking one away.
Dave, any comments about the relocation? No, so we could put that one there, not move the original one, okay?
So is that agreed? Yes, Brian?
We have a design of what the seat's gonna be like.
Well, not really, because he's paying for it himself. What he says is going to be a recycled plastic bench with plaque.
I mean, I'm all for it, but we should have some sort of design of what it's gonna be look like before agreeing with it, I think. Because any design could be put forward and you just made.
What we're actually gonna do is use one of the ones in stock. So it's actually the ones that we
So
get
it's
from
a
Walmart.
So it's right, we're not, sorry, when you said recycle, I thought it was gonna be like recycled material, sorry, I apologise.
That's what I.
Yeah, but it's gonna be a one that's in stock. Could we have an image that we could see?
Well, which is the same as the rainbow ones, it's in blue. We've got a few dotted around Blythe.
Yeah.
So basically, it would just be one of the blue ones, get the plaque put on by the sign shop.
That's fine, I don't know about that, yeah. That's right.
Recycled benches are coming up now.
I mean, I think, yeah.
It's what they're getting well used and they're getting put in place at the older benches because they get worn. So these are much better to have. Warren, did you want to come in?
Yeah, I just wondered, do we have any other memorial benches that belong to the town council anywhere?
No.
But this one is.
To Volga.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Right, okay. I mean, I think it's a great idea for Bob. My only slight concern is what happens to the benches down on the beach, on the promenade and things like that. Memorial benches that can get festooned with flowers and all kinds of things. And it causes quite a few issues for the county council. So I'm just wondering if we do go ahead with this, if we have some kind of policy, if you like.
Yeah.
And then if members of the public approach us, as they may do, seeing that one, saying, I would like to have a memorial bench, whatever.
Chair, I thought the ones at the beach
did stipulate when they signed the contract that they're not
They did.
supposed to put flowers on it, they're ignoring it. So they're ignoring it,
So-
so they've got a policy there.
So can we agree that we'll, allow, go ahead with it and with the stipulation of putting some kind of policy together that they can't put flowers on it? Yeah, that agreed by everybody. Okay, thank you for that. Right, the next one is a decision report on Axwell Drive play area. Now, this is the relocation, if you've all got the papers there, we want to relocate the, relocation of it to another part of the site, which you've all got the map of it. Would ensure a better surface and would also be further away from the main road, Bridie Road, than it is at present. And if the relocation was to be agreed, there would be a requirement for a consultation exercise to be carried out with residents in the vicinity. There will also be the removal of the teen shelter to be carried out when the play area is complete. So, thoughts or comments? Yes, Sandra?
I don't know, didn't know what's the panic called, I thought it was like.
Well, we've just found that out. The panic court is a mini mugger, thanks to Dave. I asked the same question earlier on.
Chair,
Sorry.
I live opposite, it's Brazilian football game. And basically, you score points by putting the ball through the legs of the opponent. And I live opposite it, my children play it all the time. So it's a Brazilian mini football game. There is a signpost on the outside, but when you, Chair, when it says relocate, where is it proposing to relocate? Further up the hill? or-
Yeah.
No, that, the
I
teen
thought-
shelter would be, the teen shelter would be removed.
Yeah.
And, it would have to, so Dave, do you want to answer that? Where
It
you
would-
think it would go?
It would get relocated more to the east end, Brian.
Yeah.
Where the junction is,
I'm
but
going
obviously then,
to propose against that because the amount of police issues from that cut of drug dealing. And in the corner, or further up from it, there's been needles found there. And you can confirm that through the reports through the police that I've dealt with in the past with them. So I think the location is perfect. And I think if you ask the residents that live around me, because you can see my white car on the pitch on the map, they're quite happy with it. The only issue is it needs modifying and it needs a path. As you could quite well, Dave, we've spoke about it before, but there's no path there. But I think the location it is at the moment is perfect. It just needs modernised, like I've just said, with a path. But I don't agree with putting it in that location that you proposed to here.
Right, I think what will have to happen here is it would have to go out to consultation to all the residents, not just Axwell Drive, but all around that vicinity.
It would
So-
have, sorry, Chair, it would have to just go to the Coopin, the Lewis and Coopin board, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah,
Or would you put it
Would you-
across the road to Denver Court, to Kitty Booster Road as well?
no, just, we go around the vicinity of where they want to place the park. So it's either sides and across the road from it.
Which would be Kitty Booster.
Yeah.
Well, it makes no difference, it's still a park, it's where it's.
I know, I'm
The relocation of, the reason I talked about it there is because it needs a footpath. Dave, do you want to explain?
the reason behind it, obviously, we keep monitoring the play area inspections and what we're getting told. Obviously, under the present conditions, it's soaking wet. So moving it, it's gonna move it onto higher ground, we're gonna get around that problem. It would negate the need for a path right through the area because you'll be able to access it from both sides.
Yeah.
And do what we've done with the last couple of areas where we've actually put a path from the gate to the likes of the carousel,
Mhm.
which you can either come off Axwell Drive or the footpath at the side. We would probably have to look at moving the CCTV cameras from where they are.
I mean, I understand where you're coming from there. The reason why there's waterlogged is because that mounded hill that's just been built, which was the rubble from the last one,
Right,
which we know.
I think
But
we get your message of it.
Yeah.
So what we need to do the consultation of all the residents. So
sorry, Chair.
we hear what you're saying, yes.
Anyway,
Okay?
Yeah.
Is that all right with you?
Yeah, I would like to just like my say that.
I know what you're saying,
no,
yeah, but
I was quite
we
sure.
take on board what you've said, so, John, did you want to come in?
Briefly spoke to the deputy town clerk before I came in, and there's no reason why we couldn't start this in January, do the consultation in January,
Yeah,
maybe go out to tender. And we'll get it done before the end of the year, we can do it in this financial year.
Yeah.
If that's what we decide to do, rather than wait till next April or whatever.
okay, Malcolm,
I was just gonna touch on the consultation that we've done of late for various things, you know, music in the park, play park, skate park. Our policy is, because it serves more residents than just the people on that estate, what we generally do is put the consultation document out to the immediate households surrounding the area.
right,
But what we also do is we put it on our Facebook page and the website. So it means we are consulting with the people of the town and any, you know, any users from other parts of the town. So when we do go out to consultation, you know, you might find people in the Chestnut Avenue area use them, who use that because of visit relatives. So they'll be entitled to
let us see,
have an opinion as well, and will not be able to disregard those.
okay,
If I could, Madam Chair.
Yeah.
The other thing as well, if it is relocated to another part of the site. It's gonna do away with the need to close the area down, because one would get developed. And then the other one would be stripped out, so they would actually have a new area, then the old ones removed.
But I mean, yeah, my concern is what I've said, and that's residents' concerns we contact me in that area. As you know, as you look at it, you can see, you can all see where the cut is, can't you? As you're looking at the top right-hand side.
yeah,
There's issues with the antisocial behaviour, and I would hate the children that get involved in that. The further we can keep them away from that, from anything happening to them, or seeing it, then probably the better. But I agree that the team club needs to be demolished because it's not serving the purpose. It's been smashed up, but I think just using the current area and modifying it then would be the best bet. But that's my opinion from being a resident that lives opposite the road.
Yeah, Chair, just a comment as well. I mean, there's always been vandalism in that area. I remember Bob Parker planted some trees there. They all got vandalised, might have taken them all out eventually. I think there's a half a dozen trees, can't remember now. Yeah. I think years ago, you know, so it's always been an issue, vandalism around there.
right, yes, Aileen,
If this does go ahead, will the whole play area be fenced off to prevent dogs and things going off? At the
Yes.
moment, there's some parts of that play area not fenced.
it's gonna be fenced off. But as we do with all our parks now, we fence them off for the safety of the children. Okay, right, what we'll do, Brian, it'll go out to consultation so we can get the views of other residents as well.
That's fair.
Okay, and then whatever comes back. That'll be it,
No, that's-
okay?
yeah.
So everybody agree that it goes out to consultation, yes, Malcolm?
Can we start that now?
Yes,
After the budget exercise in January, yeah.
yeah, I'll just bring Malcolm straight in.
That's so it's just want to confirm that we're going to basically start, and if we do get the opportunity to, you know, put a spade in the ground, we want to be able to do so before March.
Right, that would be a good idea. Yep, so we'll do that immediately. Okay,
Yes, yeah.
thank you for that. Partnership agreement. This one's the recommendation, the committee resolved to agree to ratify the decision of the partnership board to extend the present agreement for a period of 1 year to enable an informed decision to be made on the new working arrangements and changes made for the new season. And it's not more specific. The risks are the provision of the enhanced service that Blythe Town Council contribute towards is already within the 2024-25 budget. So any comments or questions on that? Joe and Malcolm, did you want to come in or Dave?
Yeah, Chair, you know the current partnership agreement is supposed to end next year in March. And what we've been doing for the past, well, nearly 12 months is running a trial so that we could come out with a better outputs. And the trial hasn't been that successful for various reasons. And I think you're aware of them and the other people on the negotiating team. So what we think is the best way forward is to extend the current agreement by a year and the trial as a result to see if we can iron these things out and get something that we think is what the people of Blythe want. So that's what we're suggesting. We go on with it. And the county council are really keen to get this resolved as well, as you can imagine, but from a point of view that they want to produce a better model to go forward. So really, that's what it's all about, Chair. Another year's trial.
Okay, Daniel?
I'm not satisfied with the enhanced services we've been getting from my ward, Chair.
Yeah.
When you look at neighbouring councils around us, like Seaton Valley.
Yeah.
And Hamilton, I think we've been hard done.
Yeah.
And from my residents' feedback is we could do a lot better.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily agree with the another year trial. I mean, unless they can guarantee us that we'll iron out the issue we've had and bring us something with no finding to say that that's acceptable to what we're paying. But I don't know what anyone else's opinion.
Well, that's actually come up in the new negotiation committee about the enhanced stuff. It's not working. So this is why we're talking about another year trial, so we can get that right before we delve into a partnership agreement. I'll bring in Anna.
I'm just confused because on the front it asks for recommendations, and then on the back it's asking what options could be considered. So are we saying that we're going with option 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, extend the trial for a further temporary period. I mean, you can give notice to the county council that Blythe wishes to withdraw from the partnership, which we could do that. We could consider signing a new long agreement. But what we talked about is to extend the trial for a further temporary period of 1 year to enable an informed decision to be made based on the new working arrangements.
I was just confused because normally the recommendation is what you're recommending, but then on the back it's asking for that.
Yeah.
Those were options considered, Anna.
So they're more considered rather than us to consider.
No, that it was what was talked. It was actually talked at the negotiation committee. Daniel, do you want to come back
If
in?
we went for option 1, what would our options be from there?
If what?
If we did go for option 1 to say we're going to withdraw, where would we go from there?
Well, you would just have a basic or
That's the
agreement. You would save £300,000 and you would have a core grass cutting arrangement. I mean, that's not something that's happened since in my sort of time here, but that's an option. But, you know, really, Daniel, in relation to what you mentioned before, you know, we're well aware of the standards, and what we've been doing is getting pictures of other areas and places, and one of them was Seaton Sluice that you
Seaton
mentioned, and sorry, Seaton Valley, and we put that forward as a proposed standard along by the Astley Arms and that sort of thing, of the level of grass and what have you, and we want to incorporate that in the future. And the county council want to achieve this as well, so there's been a lot of hard talking on this, and it's down to, well, you've got another year to prove that you can do this. Otherwise, we'll be preparing that time for what do we do afterwards if it's not coming out as we think.
For me, it's not just the grass cutting, it's in terms of enhancing the whole areas of Blythe, with better floral displays and, you know, different, you know, rather than just cutting the grass, let's try and enhance it with different aspects and features to make Blythe look that much better, especially in the gateways.
Yeah.
As you come in the 3 different gateways we have. And as well, yeah, I mean, £300,000, I mean, if we do go for option 1, is there like, do we look at private external companies to maybe give us these services that we'd like, or, you know, or if we do go for option 3 and go for another trial for a year, do we say, these are the things we've discussed that we'd like to see, can you give us these before we go to an agreement for a year?
Well, to be honest, Daniel, we've made grass cutting because that's been in our face and it's been pretty poor.
Yeah.
But you're right about the other enhancements, like, you know, floral displays and wildflowers and things like that. They have been mentioned in passing, but we haven't as yet come out with, you know, sort of specific requirements on that. But that's certainly something that can be taken up with them, because we're in December now you know, there's 4 months till the beginning of the last year of the trial, that these issues can be brought up. But what we're after, I think both parties, Blythe Town Council and the County Council, is to really improve the area and the image. We're really trying to do that.
But, sorry,
Sorry, Chair.
I do think if you compare Seaton Valley to Crampton, there's no comparison. Seaton Valley is absolutely perfect.
You can't see my map, and I'm just in awe at how well the
It's beautiful,
Yeah.
different team, isn't it? So, right, I've got Brian, then John, and then Anna. Malcolm, did you want to come in quickly before the
It's
councillors?
just to finish off on Daniel's query there. When you said about the alternatives, we really haven't got many because you can't bring in a private contractor to cut the county council's grass. They own the grass, so they kind of restrict who can work on it, if you like. So we'll have to have our hands tied in certainly.
So we're sort of held advanced.
Isn't it, Brian?
That was gonna be my question, if we're gonna pull away from them, say approve about 300 and, sorry, what was it?
300.
300,000 exactly.
No, it's a bit more than that.
That's what I just wanted to ask the exact figure. What alternative we've got if we pull away? That was going to be my question. And if we have got, if there is an alternative, have we looked at how we would do that?
It would go back to the county council, which you wouldn't get the same cuts as what we're getting now. If we pulled out altogether, it would go back to county council and you only get them cuts per year, I can't remember.
So we don't have, so there's no other option.
You can't because it's a county land.
So we're held at ransom with
Yeah,
that as a
really?
council.
Mhm.
So people, so what you're saying is, there's this, we're getting a substandard service from county council,
Mhm.
but we're basically skewed to the phrase, held over a barrel to basically, because there's no other option. We can't say go to a private company, ask them to cut the grass. We've got it, we're stuck.
It happened at Crampton.
Yeah.
They pulled out the partnership and they just leave it to the county, which there's no strimming done or anything.
To
Be quite honest, the standard of strimming and cooping has been non-existent. I have to come back round. Now, a lot of the time he's quite shocked I haven't done it, but it's just not getting done. Cooping.
Well, there's the sorts of things we are discussing.
So what would be going forward? This is my second one, sorry, I apologise. What would be going forward? We put the team in front of the town council and discuss, or would be the governance come?
It's the negotiation.
Yeah. So
We're still in negotiation with the county, but to get it right.
See, what happened was months and months and months ago, we set up this negotiating team. So we've got an officers negotiation team, which, you know, is pretty vigorous, if I can put it that way. And then we feed that back into the members negotiating team, which report to the partnership board. Now, there has been a lot of discussion about grass cutting and trimming, you know, those are the two big things, and weed spraying. But getting back to what you mentioned previously, that if we came away from the county council, and I want to see this work with the county council, and they do as well, but they've got to come up to standards. The other thing is, Brian, that we might be able to look at maintaining the shrubs, you know, the flowers and the shrubs and that sort of thing separately. But all this would have to be discussed, and we haven't started to do that yet because we want to have a successful partnership with the county council.
I mean, one thing I think they should be held accountable, that there should be inspections probably once a week to follow.
They do.
But I asked, yeah, I mean, yeah.
The officers work together.
Because I asked
Stephen
nobody inspected it.
No,
That's not true. I mean,
That's
Dave
not true.
does
Well,
this.
They have a weekly meeting to discuss the problems, the concerns.
Bring more than Dave about
Right,
After ringing up.
can I
Yeah.
bring in John? He's
Yeah.
been waiting patiently.
Yeah, I mean, this is part of
Did
the,
you-
why we're having the trial really, because I mean, we've looked at different grass cutting machinery.
Yeah.
And driving slower and getting a better
Yeah.
cut, all that sort of things, and, when we looked at the gateway entrances as well, we hadn't really looked to, well, you know, like the same, we don't actually own all the grass on the
No.
gateways. It's not counties, it's not town councils.
No.
It's private, you know, so
Yeah.
there's a limit to what you can do there, it's not our grass.
Right.
We're talking about grass cutting, but it's much more complicated than what you think, because you know, you've got highways grass, you've got school grass, you've got education grass, you know, there's all sorts of different areas. And if we went back and pulled out the agreements, county would probably just rip out all the flower beds, because they don't maintain them in other areas.
No,
They have a core service that would rip out all the rose beds and everything else. And you get the grass cut, I think it's 8 times a year, something like that, and that's not very frequent, so the grass would be much longer than what it is now. You wouldn't get as much trimming done, you know, so that's what we're trying to get right in this trial, to say this is what we want it to look like when it's finished. If you kind of do that, well, I'm not going to pay you. Just think, remember as well, though, there's a lot of jobs at stake here as well. People who work for county, you've got part-time staff as well, you know, sort of, you know, some of these people are just employed in the summertime.
Exactly,
you
yeah.
consider as well.
I think the problem we've got is we're damned if we do, we're damned if we don't. But we are negotiating all the time. Our next meeting to negotiate is about the 3rd of January. So, you know, we're still talking and it's continuous. They're talking every week with the officers' meetings every week. They're going ahead. They're still going ahead, Dave. So they're constantly on the ball to see what's not working and what is working. I've got Anna, then Warren. Anna?
Sure, yeah, I think, because I think as a town council and as a county council, across the whole of the country, we need to stop thinking about how we cut grass so much, given that we've got climate change agendas and how much we actually spend on cutting grass in certain areas. So for me, whilst I'd love the gateways to be lovely, we need to have to just think about our residents a little bit more. Where do people walk their dogs? Where do people actually go to where they need the grass to be that little bit shorter? And where can we look at where we can actually leave the grass as it is? Because there's so many areas in Blythe, and one of John's big bugbears is trees. And we've got more trees in Blythe than anywhere else, I think. And why do we cut the grass underneath trees all over the place? We don't need to do it. We need to change people's mindsets going forward. We have a climate change agenda on every politics level, and yet we don't focus on this when we're looking at this partnership. And I think we need to be supportive of the council if they're going to look at their climate change things, to look at how we actually cut the grass and change people's perspectives on where grass should be cut.
I've got Warren and then Brian. Warren?
No, I think that's a good point that Anna makes, and equally good points that Brian and Daniel have made. And as part of the negotiating committee, I can assure you that the county councillors involved are getting a very rough time, to put it mildly, from us, because we have not been satisfied with the standards.
No.
We show that. You know, we've not been satisfied with the cutting and then the lack of strimming. We're trying to get them to cut and trim at the same time, so they don't just cut and leave areas around trees or around seats that haven't been trimmed. It's simple things like that. And probably kind of slightly go against John here. We've got to be careful here that we provide, as we should, value for money for our residents. I think it's about 350,000 actually, if you total everything up about the partnership agreement. So my view, from a personal point of view, is this 12 months would give us the chance to really look into different options. It's almost a final chance for them to get it right.
Yeah.
And if they don't, that gives us the chance 12 months, 6 months perhaps, to look at different options on how we do things.
Yeah.
But, you know, we're constantly onto them about various systems and things like that, Dave. I think that's fair to say. Equipment that they're using, the patterns, the processes that they're going through. And some of them, they've just been excuses that have been put up. Other times they've held their hands up and said, yeah, we've got that wrong completely. So we've got to go back to the drawing board, redraw how we do the entrance areas into blah, 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 blah. So we're trying to work with them, but certainly from my point of view, being no doubt, for 350,000, I could think of other things I could spend that, or we as a council could spend that on.
Brian, did you want to come back?
Yeah, I just want to put, with this, we put, I don't know how everybody else feels, but we put a proposal where when you do the review, yes, it's a year, another year, but every quarter, we can sit down and go, look, it's not working, and basically pull out everything. A review, meeting every 3 months where we can basically say, no, look, this is just not working. And we're not tied in for a year. We can say 3 months in, go, look, this has gone downhill so fast.
It's actually what we're doing.
Yeah, that's all right.
No, we're doing that
Can
now.
I just comment on that? You can't, you've got annual contracts for equipment, the lease, you can't just cancel a contract.
But yeah, but then that,
Employees as well, they need to turn the contract,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
there's
but that
lots
was-
of issues.
that puts it back on them to actually do the job at their standard. Now, I would like to see as well, because I'm on the record, yeah, I would a great job at being reactive. He's got a hard task, and you know what he actually does. But it's just, you know, from what Councillor Carr said, is we just wanted what you said you do, is
Yeah.
hold them accountable every 3 months. And if they don't meet our expectations and residents of the town, we can turn around and say, right, well, that's it, you
Yeah.
know, we're cutting.
Right, Daniel?
Could it just be elaborated? What were the issues? Because they said they've obviously been apologising for the issues caused. What exactly has caused the delay or non-cuts?
Can I bring Dave in on this? There's been a lot of issues. Dave?
A lot of issues. We've been out doing inspections. We've noticed areas that haven't been done. Strimming hasn't been done. Not just in any one particular ward, right across Blythe. Some of the things that's been said, that a guy's got to need to know what else he's doing. If I'm driving around as an officer and I'm seeing things, surely guys are seeing it. But the same on larger areas, yours in question. We've questioned how many times the grass has been cut in that area, because they've got the tool mobile, supposed to track them. We've challenged that. We know how many cuts they've done this year. Core cuts, it's 10, minimum of 10. That figure hasn't been achieved.
No.
The gateway cuts, they've managed 15. Now, on the ordinary enhanced agreement, it's supposed to do between 17 to 19.
Yeah.
We envisaged a lot more cuts than what they've done. We're working on a different programme for next year. That's something for next year.
So just to break it down, I'm going to say it, or we're saying that some of the workers are just being lazy.
Of course, yeah, that.
Was it, I mean.
Hang on, Brian, will you speak through the chair, please? I've got other people waiting. That is the problem we've got, and we've already talked about that.
Because I understand Blythe's a big area, but I want to know the reasons why these bits aren't getting cut or trimmed, or they're just looking at it and thinking, I think I'll just give it a miss this week.
Yeah, we just need to, we've got to remember, this has been recorded, so it's got to be careful what we see here. Sandra, you wanted to come in?
Yes, I'm with Anna on this, and I think we'll get over anxious about nobody died because they didn't string around the tree, and it's much more environmentally friendly if you move the grass there. I think we should look at areas that we can wild that don't need cutting, and it's just so much better for our environment, for the bees, you know, for the insects.
Mhm.
And I just think we get a bit anal about
Yeah,
how
we
we
carried
do
away.
grass. And I think we should be looking at it, maybe more cuts in areas that really need it, but looking, I mean, why would you strip around a tree?
Right. I've got Brian to come back in, sorry, Cliff, and then Anna. So Brian,
Yeah, it was just, all I was gonna say, I was just putting in like, you know, others have before, but weather's got a big factor in how many cuts, is that right?
Yeah.
It's the club.
Yeah.
So, you know, we've had quite a cool, wet year. you know, nothing that was expected from the climate change. We have had quite a cool year, it's been quite wet. So that's gonna have a massive factor of how many cuts we can get in a year as well. Because you can't cut wet grass.
Right. Right, I've got Cliff and then Anna.
Yeah, I just want to come in back, what, Dave was saying, there was only on the 15 cuts meant to be, well, the 17 and 19. Do they get penalised or not? Because we're paying for minimum 19 cuts, they're only providing 15. Yeah, I understand whether staffing issues, whatever it is, you know, but that money should come back to us, or some of that money.
Well, it actually does. That
does happen.
There is an underspend if you look at the budget, which will come on to next. Anna, did you want to come back in?
I'm just going to defend some of the workforce because I do think that the county, they do get a tough ride, the actual workforce itself, and they are down on their knees. We've got to remember that they're not huge teams. So you have one person go off the sick, one person that can drive a tractor and you don't have anybody else to drive a tractor, it impacts on them. And we've got to recognise that workforce throughout everywhere in public services, in the NHS, is absolutely on its knees. We can't recruit the people that we need. And what happens with the partnerships when they go to Cramlington is people jump ship, but then they realise the grass isn't greener on the other side and they come back. So I just want to, you know, there will be certain people who take the land. It always happens in every employment I've ever been in. But in the main, most people work really hard in the jobs that they do. And I just want to stand up for the work.
Yeah, no, about that. Right, George, do you want to comment on Brian's comments?
Well, actually, it was just to mention about the wilding, the green issues. I mean, the county council as a whole are having a review of services because of their budgetary problems, I understand. And one of the areas that's being looked at initially is the open spaces area. He did say that the results of that may impinge again on our partnership agreement, and they will make suggestions like leaving areas of wildflowers rather than cutting the grass and various other suggestions. But that's got to all come out of the melting pot as far as I'm aware. And when they come out, we will consider them because it's the end of the day, it's what we want as a town council.
And Joe, just on that, there is a consultation with the county council, which does look like it's towards the local plan, but when it's talking about open spaces, I think it's to gather that information from the public, what people value that open spaces. So I think that the information feeding through from that to fill out the consultation.
Right, last one, Daniel.
I will not agree to do an extra extended year trial for £350,000 for half job Harry jobs around my ward.
Right.
So on that basis, if it comes to a vote, I will not be voting to extended year.
And abstain.
I do not agree. If I did a half job at work, leaving grass around the tree, I would get bothered for it. And I will not accept any council workers doing the same.
Right. Right then, we're going to take all these on board, what's been said, which will be fed back to the negotiation. You got that down, Dave? So it's up to us now to decide, do we go ahead for the extra year trial? Can I have a show?
Option 3, yes.
Option 3. Can I have a show of hands for option 3? Right.
Have you got that, Malcolm?
You got it, Malcolm. There's 2 abstentions, I think.
No, we don't have to disagree yet.
Well, who, right, that's 4 against. Right, so there's 2 against, and the rest are 4. I've got to be able to count.
Democracy in action.
I can't count more than 5. 11 for and 2 against.
Chair, sorry, I thought we agreed a couple of meetings ago that we were gonna have named votes, so we you what.
Well, I think if it's a show of hands, it does tell you who's voting. I mean, if you have a named vote, I mean, I can go down that road, but if you've seen everybody in here, that's got the show of hands.
It's recorded.
No, it says recorded as well on the owl.
It's just.
Is that all right?
That's all.
If, just a clarification, Chair, if a member calls for a name vote and that's seconded and agreed, we would have a name vote.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's the procedure, Brian.
if you'd asked me before that, before I asked for those that agreed.
Fortunately, I had to pick my children up, you know, because
No, just before then. Because when I said you agreed to, you could have just said it then. All right?
Yeah,
Okay, honey. No bother. Right, I think that's it. So that's been agreed. Okay. The next one's the decision, the budget report. If everybody had a chance to read the budget report. It's just comments, consider and recommend the environmental committee budget for 24-25 to the governance committee for further consideration and for recommendation to the council. No vote specific. The risk analysis and environment committee budget must be set for the next financial years to sit alongside other committees to ensure the finance available for services and ultimately the setting of the council.
Yeah, I'd just like to say Malcolm's doing all the work on this, so, you know, I'd like to thank him for that. And I think the report is self-explanatory about underspendings and that type of thing between probable and the original budget and between the net budget for last, this current year and next year. So I think that's outlined, and then there's a detail in appendix 3, but we'll welcome any comments as usual.
Any comments or questions? Yes, Jeff.
Yeah, thanks.
It's
The budget,
things.
the budget for this year was 600,000 quid. But we've underspent by like 100,000. And yet you want to add 160,000 to next year's budget. I'm just, it's I'm just a bit mystified. And, you know, I sit there every year and tell you that you're gonna have loads of money left. So I just, you know, if you've underspent by 100,000,
Yeah,
why don't we just leave the budget at 600,000? And then that will all even out, won't it?
and yes, George, you want to answer that?
I think in the second table, it outlines the difference between the original budget and next year. It's principally because of the skate park, yeah. But Malcolm, do you want to explain it a bit more?
I was going to say, when they set the budget a year ago for this committee, we hadn't budgeted for the fact that we're going to receive £60,000. Section 106 money, I make some dramatic savings on CCTV. Now, the skate park can't be delivered this financial year. We're going to have to do it next year, and as Joe says, that's the key thing. The skate park plus spending 70,000 on allotment lanes, which you agreed at the last meeting. So they're just the big differences. We've got some extra income in this year, and next year we've got the skate park and the lanes to do. That's basically it.
But as usual, I'm just saying, yeah, you know, I've got absolutely no quarrel with the way you work all this out, but just the figures, it's like, if you haven't spent the money, and that's the underspend. You haven't spent it, but you're gonna spend it next year, so just leave it, and it'll spend, rather than adding it all in, I just can't do it. But that's what you always say, and we always end up with a pile of money, and you always put the council tax up, and I haven't never had any argument with that. If John Potts tells me that this is good, then I'm gonna vote for it. I know but I just tell you that it just, when you look at it, it just like, you know, you sit here and say we're gonna run out of money. And then you look at the reserves and they go from, you know, whatever they are now. And so it's like, I don't disbelieve you, and I trust you implicitly with everything you do. And the money's fine. But it's just when you look at the figures, it's like, well, hold on a minute. We're gonna end up with over £1 million in reserves. And you're gonna tell me that, oh, in 5 years' time, we're gonna go bust. So I don't know.
Yeah, John, do you want to come in?
Pick the bones out of that.
Oh, sorry,
Let's
Jeff.
just read it. If you think this time last year for the skate park, we put £200,000 in the budget to be spent this year, right? We're not going to be able to do that.
No.
So that 200,000 just goes back into balances.
Yeah.
Doesn't stay with the committee. goes back into balances.
And then comes
But when
back.
considering the budget for next year, you need to put £200,000 in for a skate park, because we're going to do it next year. Yeah,
Yeah, I understand.
so yes, there is money in balances and it is increasing, but we'll discuss that when we get the governance committee. When we discuss council tax and other issues, so. I mean, it's all identified there where we haven't spent the £200,000, you know, that it's quite a huge sum of money. And we agreed to spend another 76,000 on the allotments, so. The play areas as well, and I've just mentioned before, if we get round to doing actual park, and we do it this year. That money's gonna come out in this financial year.
Yeah.
So you won't need to put it into next year's budget. Yeah, so it's, well, swings and roundabouts, but. Swings and roundabouts.
The skate park hasn't got any roundabouts in it.
No, that's the forecast.
Right, Ryan?
I'm not the accountant.
So I have the question been answered.
Is that all right? Right, okay, anybody else? So it goes back to the fact that we agree the budget,
Subject to governance committee.
subject to government, subject.
So I can have another go at government.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
Yes,
you can.
we'll do it.
Then council.
So can we
Oh,
agree,
excellent,
we
great.
agree to your recommendation for to go to government's committee? Okay, who will make the final decision? So is that agreed?
Yeah.
Yep. Right, okay, we'll do that one. Right, and next one. Delegated actions, there was none to be considered. Enforcement, you've already had your reports by email. Can I just say, still doing, so, date and time of next meeting, you can see it's the 22nd of February, 24, not 23. Okay. for the
Doctor Who's on at the moment,
Yeah.
we're not going back inside.
Right, Brian,
Chair, I'm just reading that, you know, for the. Sorry. Don't, it's before it's gone off.
oh
Sorry,
dear,
I'll come back to you.
yeah, you're all right, just when you get on it, because there's nobody else got any questions, is there?
I would just like to say again, thanks for changing the signs at the top, like the road there.
People look lovely.
Yeah, and it's just the, you know, it's exactly kind of how I envisaged the use of those, you know, you just change them and it's. You put the walls on, thing on, you put the Christmas thing on, and I just think, well done, it's brilliant. Then all the designs you've had so far have been.
And the NHS seats are up there now, so they look really lovely.
Well done.
So it looks smashing.
Good stuff. I look forward, it's always a pleasant surprise. Changed them. It's brilliant, thank you.
Any changes in design, Jeff, add into the budget?
Yeah,
Excellent.
after different seasons, right? Did you find it, Brian, or not?
It's all right, it's fine.
Okay,
Thank
right,
you very much, Chair. Come back.
part two, there's no part two. So just to remind everybody, Thursday, the 22nd of February, 24 is our next Environment Committee. And I'll close the meeting at that.
Well done, Chair.
Okay, thank you, everybody, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was quite an interesting meeting.
Yes, well, everybody's got to have a see, haven't they?